on, everybody? Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. This is the safe space where we set oppression ablaze, and it is time. It is past time. It is overdue. Oppression is really fucking trying it, but guess what? We better than oppression. We better than oppression. Not bigger, unfortunately. Well, maybe we are bigger than oppression because I think there are more oppressed than there are oppressors. And that's something that has always sort of befuddled me as an adult. I'm like, hold on. You mean there's 7 billion people on the planet? It's probably 25,000 fucking suckers fucking it up for everybody. And the rest of us 7 billion just can't deal with those 25,000, 50,000, even if it was fucking up everything for everybody else. Something must be done. Something must be done. Decisions must be made. Gang, I'm so very excited that you guys are here with me today. Thank you so much for making the time to come kick it with your homie. Big up to the people them. I see y'all in here coming through. What's going on, Nat? Hey, how you doing, Kane and Nat? I see Holly in here. Donnie was in here. 40J Blaze, Infinite Content, Big Silver, Big Pun came through to come rap with the people of them today. Glad to see it. Glad to see it. Shout out to all my chat all-stars. Big up to my mods, Latif, Courtney, Chuck Diesel, my son Tyler. I don't know if Tyler's in here. My nieces, Valley Girls. I love to see everybody. And just all the folks that come out. Shout out to Big Teal. Big up to Imani. Big up to everybody. Where the fuck did the chat go? Ain't this a bitch? It says own your power. How did this ad get up here? You know, I have to tell you guys, technology is constantly trying to befuddle me. And I hate that because I don't want to attribute it necessarily to age, but god damn it, I don't know what the fuck to attribute it to. Anyway, it's so wild. Will and I were having a conversation before we went live. I'm gonna get into the show in just a second. Bear with me here for a moment. So clearly you see I have my hair in twists and I'm wearing extremely minimal makeup. I'm wearing gloss and eyeliner and a little bit of mascara. I have been on strike from wearing makeup for a couple weeks now because truthfully, I just don't like how it makes my face feel. Right. And you guys know I'm always rebelling against expected societal gender conformities, right? I know at my age I'm supposed to be wearing makeup every day, says society, but I say fuck that shit. Fuck all that shit. God damn it. I will come on this bitch with my Miss Silly braids and everything. I will be light-skinned Miss Silly in here. And speaking of Miss Silly, hold on, we was talking about color purple before we went live. And I said, can we take a moment to please appreciate and respect the pimping of Suge Avery? Do y'all know how hard Suge Avery was out here pimping? Suge Avery gonna show up to her side nigga house and call his wife ugly. What? and have his wife draw her a bath. No, wait a second. And then when she decided to drop her side nigga, she got married. She gonna show back up at her side nigga's house with her husband. If that ain't pimping, if that is not the kind of aspirational pimping that I think we all should be looking up to and trying to achieve. You make your side person cater to you and your spouse when you show up to when you show up to visit. You make sure your side nigga get in that kitchen and make sure that you and your husband got something to eat after a long trip on the road. Shout out to Suge Avery, man. Suge Avery doing it out here for everybody. Anyway, I'm sorry. My apologies for that brief tangent. We've got a good show in store for you all today. So we're going to do a little bit of an update of the Stop Cop City. This week, there are a week's worth of actions in and around Atlanta, also in different cities across the country. But what happened in Atlanta over the weekend made national news again. We discussed it and got the firsthand update from, of course, our BPM comrade, Kamal Franklin. But there were some other scenes that came out of this weekend that I want us to hear, okay? Because we've seen the protesters, the forest defenders, in these confrontations with police in which the police turned violent, not the protesters. The police turned the demonstrations violent themselves. But I want us to hear some more voices. And there was a clip that I found. Shout out to Roots Action. I think they posted. Let me not get too deep in this. But anyway, there was a member of the Atlanta area clergy who got up there and read the Atlanta City Council for fucking filth. She She read them niggas down. She read them niggas. I don't even know if this all niggas are on the Atlanta City Kid, but she read them all down. The white niggas included. Read them down. Read them down. And I definitely want us to take a look at that. But the first story I want to get into, guys, is a local story to me. And again, I'm sorry. I don't think you guys mind that I talk about where I'm is like that. But where I'm is, they doing a lot of shit here where I'm is, where you is, right? And the conversations around police reform continue to be ongoing. Politicians on the Democrats and the Republicans. I'm gonna stop using the left and right framing because there's definitely right. I don't know who the fuck is a left politician out here. I loathe to call any of these Democrats on the left because they are not leftists. They are at best moderates and centrists. Really center right is what the 21st century Democrats are. But anyway, Republicans and Democrats alike all claim that police reform is possible. Police accountability already exists. And if it doesn't exist, well, then we need to provide the police billions of more dollars in order for them to get the proper training. I guess at a location such as Cop City, but regardless. But there was an initiative introduced here locally where I am, Montgomery County, Maryland, which is right outside of Washington, D.C. Montgomery County is an interesting place. It's very affluent. And it, in my opinion, I mean, it's pretty diverse relative to its affluence, right? There's a lot of everybody in Mo County. There's a lot of white folks. It's a good amount of black folks, good amount of Asians, good amount of Hispanics. Like I like Montgomery County. It's a little pricey, but it seems like a very lovely place to live if you decide to live in the DC suburbs. So anyway, one of the most progressive, I would say, council members for the Montgomery County Council is a brother named Will Jawando. Now, listen, I listen to Jawando because he has always set forth some very good progressive legislation for the county council since he's been elected. But it doesn't hurt that Will Jawando is finer than a motherfucker. I'm sorry. Will Jawando, every time Will Jawando pop up on TV, I'm like, shh. Councilman Jawando is speaking. Y'all be quiet. Councilman Jawando has some new legislation to set forward. I want to listen. Shh. Y'all be quiet so I can look at him clearly. Y'all be quiet so I can stare at him. Anyway, not to objectify the councilman per se, but I support this piece of legislation that he has introduced. And it's not a novel piece of legislation. I'm gonna play the package from WJLA Channel 7 here so we can look at Will Jawanda for a minute. But basically, what he is proposing is that the police stop doing minor traffic enforcement, meaning if there is a license plate askew or something dangling from the rearview mirror, or your registration ticket is expired, or you have a busted headlight or tail light, these would no longer be permissible offenses for police to pull over drivers, right? Which makes perfect sense, because as is per usual with policing, American policing across the board, regardless of where you are in the country, all of those little bullshit reasons are justifications for pretextual stops, right? You catch the black or brown driver with the busted head or tail light. That gives the police an entry point to further search the car to try to find contraband to plant contraband, to find some other shit to fuck with niggas about, right? At the end of the day. So it is that. So the pushback coming from Montgomery County Police is predictable, but it's not the only place where this has happened. Because I support the councilman and other similar minded legislators who want to reduce the amount of engagements that police have with the public because they understand, well, there is no public trust. In lots of communities, there's never been public trust between the communities and the police. But the police don't want to stop pulling over niggas. Okay. Like they don't want to stop pulling over niggas because they understand that that's basically their job. So I want us to get a quick little primer from Channel 7 and Councilman Jawando. Yeah, let me not be too thirsty because this is a whole ass married man. But just because he married don't mean he ain't fine, right? He ain't stopped being fine just because he got a wife. And congratulations to his wife because girl, you did fantastic. Gone. But anyway, this is a good piece of legislation. Let me get focused. I'm sorry, my bad. You guys know who would I be if I was not both complaining about white men or not just white men, white people, I'm sorry. If I were to stop complaining about white people and objectifying men, I wouldn't be Kim. I would not be Kim. So anyway, we'll queue up that package from WJLA Channel 7. And I want you guys to peep this and let me know if something similar has been either introduced or enacted where you are, because this seems to be a progressive direction that localities are going towards to reduce the shit that police can pull over motorists for. So let's take a look at this package.
Lessons, Zoe, according to an audit of police department data, drivers in Montgomery County are more likely to be pulled over if they are black. There is a council member who says fixing that is more important than tickets for minor offenses.
Look, I'm an African-American man. I'm not immune to any of these things.
Will Joando remembers right after high school, Montgomery County Police pulled him over for minor infractions more than 10 times in 1 year while he was working for the police department.
I started wearing my police ID around my neck. It helped, but you shouldn't have to have that.
Tuesday, in his role now as a county council member,
there's more we need to do.
Joando introduced a bill that would prohibit county police from stopping drivers for low-level offenses like a single broken taillight, expired tags, or tinted windows.
Or like, a flag from your country or whatever. Again, people have these things all the time, but who's pulled over for them?
According to this 2022 audit of Montgomery County traffic stops, people of color are disproportionately more likely to be pulled over. It found about 30% of all traffic stops and 43% of all searches on traffic stops were of black drivers, in a county where only 18% of all adults are black. Joando believes those numbers would improve if police needed a more serious reason to pull people over.
I think it's a win-win to help build community trust and also focus our police on the most urgent traffic safety and crime prevention issues.
But Montgomery County Police Chief Marcus Jones tells WUSA 9 Joando's bill is, quote, bad legislation and will make Montgomery County less safe. He says the data is flawed because it's based on census numbers, not the driving population. Jones says if the bill passes, it, quote, will have a negative impact on morale for our police officers. Now, this bill would not change an officer's ability to pull someone over for a more serious offense, reckless driving, speeding, DUI. And if a person gets pulled over for that and they have a minor infraction, they can still get a ticket for that minor infraction. This bill is set for public comment on June 13th. We'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate that. Let me tell y'all something. To be real, Will Joando should be the fucking governor of Maryland, not goddamn Wes Moore. Okay. Will Joando has actually got a legislative record out here to stand on as the at-large member of the Montgomery County Council. Wes Moore wrote a book and is Oprah's homeboy. That nigga ain't passed shit. He ain't passed shit. He ain't wrote shit. He ain't, anyway, that shit just irritates me because I'm like, anyway. And Will Joando was finer. Anyway, that should not be a standard by which we elect people to public office. I'm just making an observation. So there's that. So you guys see, Marcus Jones is the Montgomery County Chief of Police, a black man. Marcus Jones has been a police officer for many decades. And Marcus Jones knows that even as a black police officer, that the main duty of cops, their main role, their main function is to keep niggas in line, to keep niggas in check, not to stop crime, not to keep the community safe, to keep niggas in check, period, point blank. I want us, Will, do me a favor, pull up that article. Who is that? WESA FM. Is this the NPR station out there in Pittsburgh? This similar sort of thing has happened in Pittsburgh, where the Pittsburgh City Council back in 2021 actually did, in fact, pass an ordinance that would preclude police officers from pulling over drivers who violate 8 minor traffic offenses: expired registration, license plate askew, et cetera, et cetera. Well, back in January, the Pittsburgh Police Department has been instructed to resume enforcing minor traffic violations like an expired registration tag or a poorly secured license plate, despite a 2021 ordinance preventing them from doing so in the absence of a larger infraction. See, guys, and keep that up there for a minute, Will, because what the Pittsburgh police have done is that they have usurped the will of the people. Who we've heard that's happening a lot lately. That's interesting. That happens in a democracy. That usually happens under fascism. But funny how the will of the people is being continually usurped. We're seeing this in Atlanta with Cop City and here in Pittsburgh because the Pittsburgh City Council wanted to prevent the disproportionate traffic stops that black motorists in Pittsburgh specifically were experiencing. Now, the Pittsburgh City Council, in passing this ordinance in 2021, actually based this off a similar ordinance passed in Philadelphia. Infinite content. How's that working? Are Philly cops not pulling niggas over for busted headlights, or Philly cops said fuck that shit? We still we still on that bullshit. Fuck a law. We don't give a fuck about the law. We give a fuck about keeping what y'all niggas in check. Accurate. That is correct. In this article, it goes on to say, according to Pittsburgh police, black residents make up about 22% of the city's population, but account for 42% of all traffic stops in 2021. And at the time, I don't know if this man has been actually appointed the police chief. Do we have any Pittsburghites in the building? In January, he was acting chief Thomas Stragnecki, Strangreeki. I'm gonna work on that. Okay. Stranggeeky, whatever. He said, hold on, let me find the quote because I think this is very important. Okay, so this is what he said. Stranjicki told WESA that another reason for the reversal was to boost morale among the city's police ranks. He said that he's received steady feedback that the ordinance is preventing them from doing their jobs. Class, what did we just say the police officers' jobs are? Don't write it out because YouTube will hold a comment. Quote, this is what Strangecki said. He said, the officers who are employed here come here for a reason, and that's to enforce the law, Strangecki said. I thought it was imperative that I send out some strong messaging to the officers that are still here on the police force that you can do your job, you can enforce the law. Enforcing the law. Now, according to this piece, the Pittsburgh Police Department has been shrinking in size. And some even say that the forces are stretched. So critics of the police reversal of, the city council imposed ordinance, critics say, I mean, do Pittsburgh police really have time to be pulling over people with busted headlights and expired registration tags? Like, if the focus is on crime and public safety, then how is enforcing these minor traffic ordinances so vitally important to police officers doing their job? It's not. It's not. Because these are pretextual stops. These are pretextual reasons that the police use to specifically target black and brown motorists to try to catch them doing something. And if police apply that same amount of enthusiasm as determination, if they apply that same amount of will to pulling over white motorists, chances are they'd find a lot of shit. Did y'all know that white people be out here riding dirty? Did y'all know that? I knew it. Guns, drugs, what you want? People in the trunk, they got it. The white drivers, they got it all. And if the police pulled over white people at the same rates that they pull over black people with the same amount of enthusiasm, and I'm using enthusiasm sarcastically here, if they did that, you'd find a lot of the white people are doing a lot of shit out here. But no. To keep white people in check is not the point. It's to keep black folks in check. And that's the whole point, guys. The idea of police reformation is an absolute joke. It's a farce. You can't reform an institution that is resisting reforms all up and down. And the police at their very root know what their role is. They know what their mission is. They know what their job is. And that is to target racially black and brown folks for criminal and punitive Nonsense. To try to put niggas in jail. That's the point of the police, not to keep the community safe. That's nonsense. Because if that was the case, then the community would be safe. because we've totally spent enough money for the community to be safe, but the communities are never safe, no matter how much the police budgets are, no matter how much the police as an agency receives relative to other city funded agencies, depending on where you are, compared to public health, compared to public education, compared to public works, all kinds of shit. The police get the most money out of everybody. And that's why the quote unquote crime rate is where it is, because of the misappropriate priorities. We want to prioritize locking people up, not putting them and getting them the services that they need. Will, did I put something on the doc from the appeal.org? I meant to do that. Maybe I didn't. Hold on. Because there was a piece in the appeal that actually caught my attention. I meant to put it on the doc. I can't say for a fact that I did. But oh, I did not. So the appeal.org, that is, guys, and I apologize for not having this handy, but I looked at it earlier. They did an examination of the LAPD data over the past few years. Back in 2015, I believe it was the LA City Council themselves passed an ordinance to try to make sure that people who are experiencing mental health crisis would not be necessarily locked up for, I guess, acting out in public. And they have found, the appeal.org found, that in fact, the amount of people who were mentally ill or experiencing a mentally health crisis, those people have been locked up at an exponential rate by the Los Angeles Police Department. There are so many more people in jail now in Los Angeles County with mental illnesses than there was before this piece of legislation that passed was meant to address police doing exactly that. And I don't mean to point out the obvious, because sometimes some of this stuff is revelatory to me, and not necessarily revelatory to me in this moment. But at the end of the day, there needs to be a collective awakening, a wokeism, if you will, that the police are not keeping anything safe. They do not promote public safety. You have to point to me to the evidence in which says that more police on the streets, more funding for police equals less violent crime, less quote unquote property crime. The statistics aren't there to support that, but the statistics are indeed there to support the reverse, that when you put more money into making sure that people have secure housing, when you make sure that their levels of public education are adequate, when you make sure that they are fed, when you make sure that they have health care, these are when the community's outcomes turn out for the better. Not when you further over police and over criminalize people who are simply just trying to survive and live through their own traumas. And I just want us to just be clear, and not us to be clear. I think we are actually quite clear. But I know we have some liberals in our circles. I know we have some good old Democrats in our circles. And people would say, well, at least the Democrats are talking about it. The Republicans don't want to do anything about it. Well, the Democrats do an excellent job. Well, no, not so excellent. They do a job of talking about it. But when you pull back the curtain and look at their policies and look at the kind of things they support, most importantly, what they support with their budgets, with their money, it is the police state. Fucking Joe Biden just doubled down on that shit, standing with House Republicans to make sure that DC's revised criminal code does not get enforced. And as Jacqueline Luqman taught us this morning on the Remix Morning Show, even though the DC City Council did a very deliberate and intentional job of trying to reform the 120-year-old DC criminal code, it doesn't do shit in terms of truly reducing the amount of people who actually go to jail, or for the mandatory minimum sentences for so-called violent crime. Fucking DC City Council Chairman Phil Middleton was on TV just a little bit ago, basically anyway, saying that the revised criminal code act is not at all soft on crime. He said that the DC mandatory minimum sentence for carjacking is in fact more harsh than Tennessee, which there was a Republican Tennessee senator who was leading the charge in the Senate to make sure that this disapproval resolution gets a Senate vote, which it probably will tonight, even though DC has withdrawn the bill. Doesn't matter. These Republican and these Democrat adjacent Republicans um, who are they want to send a message that they are not quote unquote soft on crime. But what they are, in fact, is soft on solutions. Because the 90s, if anything, and I'm only talking about the time that I've lived through, but you guys know we all are in about the same age range. The 90s showed us, dog, like you can build all the jails you want, you can fill all the jails that you want. People's situation did not change. The crime rate, so called, did not change. When you incarcerated all these folks, all you did was create a new tier of under citizenship, of second and third class citizenship. You made things more difficult for people's families. You made things more difficult for their communities. You didn't address what even drove them to do the things that they did, and you certainly didn't address the amount of crooked ass cops that put a lot of innocent people in jail for all kinds of things. For all kinds of things. So the only solution, guys, is to burn it down. We have to abolish the police state. We have to abolish the carceral state, because I can't see how this can get better by doing the same old shit. And Joe Biden and the Democrats are actually, with the assistance of Republicans, they're all hand in hand here. They're trying to walk us back to 92. All this rhetoric I'm hearing about crime and violent crime and the rise on crime and what must we do about crime. I'm like, we about to get another crime bill, y'all. They about to put another 100,000 cops on the streets. The George Floyd justice and policing. What? What was that? Who said anything about that? Says the Democrats. We don't remember that. What was that? Who was George Floyd? Thank you so much for your super chat support. Who is that? Commuted. Thank you so much. You said I had to explain hypocrisy. Hypocrisy wasn't a form of government. Who would you have to explain that to? Right. Hypocrisy, Lord have mercy. Where does that fall between a constitutional republican fascism, a hypocrisy democracy? We don't have no democracy. We absolutely have hypocrisy in spades. NYPD did that same dumb shit, didn't they? I don't think Rich the God is in here, but shout out to Rich the God. Shout out to all the New Yorkers. Who was in here? Imani, who's in here from New York? Remember when they ruled that stop and frisk was illegal? Was it the Supreme Court that ruled that? 2011, 2012, somewhere in there, 2013. There was a Supreme Court decision about stop and frisk. And NYPD said, cool, we won't stop and frisk maybe for a week. You want us to stop frisking for what maybe 2 weeks? and then NYPD was back to stopping and frisking niggas all over again. So what does this tell us? The obvious, that we do need community control of the police, but this is where I sort of run into I won't say a conflict per se, because, for example, what Councilman Jawando has proposed is a good idea. The problem is, if it passes, are the police going to adhere to the shit? And at the end of the day, they don't have to adhere to it, because who's going to make them? In Pittsburgh, who is making the Pittsburgh police adhere to the city council passed ordinance? Nobody. Nobody. The police run America, everybody. The police and the military run this country. The corporate lobbyists run this country. The oligarchs, the billionaires run this country. We, being the majority of the folks in this country, do not have a proper say in the way that our lives are governed, not only by the government, but by the capitalist interests that are protected by the police. So what we going to do? We going to barbecue or we going to mildew? I don't know. I say let's barbecue. Burn this bitch down to the ground. Let me take a break real quick. What time is it? Oh yeah, let's take a break. Hey, big up to everyone that's watching us tonight. Please come on in, do us a favor, give us a thumbs up, a like on the video, ride the algorithm, leave a comment. Even if the comment just says comment, that is an acceptable comment, in my opinion. Shout out to Richard R. Richard R. left a comment under a video, and y'all know I can't half-ass see nor read, so I'm trying to read the comment on my phone, and I said, "Did Richard call me a racist hoe?" No, Richard did not call me a racist hoe. Richard said, "Don't go down the rabbit hole," and I said, "I need to relax." I said, I need to calm down. I'm projecting that people are calling me racist hoes on the internet, and the man said nothing of the sort. So, Richard, my apologies for misreading your comment. Thankfully, I did not reply to your comment, even though I had very clearly misread it. But what I did not misread, gang, will pop up the fundraising graphic if you could. Fire fam, I cannot thank you guys enough. We were doing our winter fundraiser. We started it last week before one of them weeks anyway. And we had a $1,200 goal. We have exceeded our goal. We met it and exceeded it today. I think Molly must have sent out a tweet to guilt y'all into, into sending us some bucks because out of the blue, we got like $100. I said, where did this money come from? I said, Molly must have tweeted, must have begged, tweeted on our behalf. Where's the graphic? Will put the graphic up, my man. So let me read off.
It's still exporting. My bad.
I'm not gonna curse. I'm not gonna curse. I'm not mad. I'm not even mad. It's fine. But that's fine. I will just read. Okay, guys, this is how this works. So when you hear your name, please stand and wave to everybody. You got to turn around and wave to the people in the back in addition to. So thank you so much to Andre T for your super not for your support. Thank you so much to Tiffany K. We appreciate your support. Karina N. Come through, Karina. Thank you again to Christina S. Thank you, as always, to Latif. Big up to Mama Lorraine and Anna Hart for your very generous PayPal donation. We certainly appreciate that. Who else do we got out here? We got Samuel G. Thank you so much, Samuel. Carla N. Appreciate that, baby girl. And Jenna, thank you so much, Jenna L, for your support. And who else? Calvin M sent us a very generous PayPal. So I just want to thank everybody for helping us not only meet our goal but exceed our goal. Truly, guys, I try not to beg for the material support. I don't not because we in a place of begging per se. I don't know. It's just not what I do. So when we do these fundraisers and you guys show up with the material support, it really gives me a lot of validation to keep going. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have a big channel. We don't have the hundreds of people in here with the live chat with us, but we always keep a nifty 50. That nifty 50 does not fuck around, and for that I will always be appreciative. So I just want to thank you guys for giving me the support, the literal actual physical support. And John Kemper, thank you so much for your super chat donation, the extra bucks. Then come through, JK. Appreciate that, baby boy. That y'all tell me I'm doing it the right thing, even though YouTube be hating like a little. Let me go Baltimore real quick, like a little whore. Guys, if you've never been to Baltimore and had a Baltimorean call you a whore, I assure you it is a unique experience that I encourage everybody should experience that. And the whore, by the way, is non-gender specific. Baltimore will call everybody a fucking whore. They will call you a whore out here. And it's almost a term of endearment, but it really isn't. So hold on, let me ask Will a question. Will, pop up on your mic real quick. Will, when was the first time somebody called you a whore in Baltimore? And what was your reaction?
Uh, Thanks for putting me on the spot. I
Because I know
can't
that could be
remember.
jarring. That could be jarring to out of towners. But like, did
No, no,
this old lady just call me a whore? Or that's across the street.
it was definitely somebody was like, "Yo, y'all some whores." That's my favorite one. No, I think with Baltimore, I just genuinely love how they say it. So I can't wait to say it to somebody else like that. So that's what I.
Let me tell
So
y'all
that's where
something.
I'll be at with it.
Good. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Will. Let me big up Baltimore real quick. Baltimore is the home of the non-gender specific references, right? So whore again is non-gender specific. Yo, hey, actually, I'm not. See, that's how you know I'm not really from Baltimore because I'm trying to use it casually, appropriately in the sentence that I can't do it. But yo is a pronoun, like everybody yo.
Yo a
Sh-
whore.
Yo a
Yo a
whore. There we go. Boom. There you go,
yo.
Will. Thank you. I needed that conjugation of those pronouns in that descriptive. Yo a whore. Yeah, that's exact. Yup. Thank you. Thank you, Will. That was very helpful. So yeah. Shout out to Baltimore City, man. Baltimore City, I tell you, a great city that has a horrible reputation. Thanks in part to David fucking Simon, to Booger Face, Scrotum Face, David Simon. I told Will's a filmmaker on the low, y'all. I told, not really on the low, he's a filmmaker, but I told Will, I said, Will, you need to do a piece, you need to do a little doc talking to Baltimore City residents and get their opinion about The Wire. Because I assure you, the way people in Baltimore feel about The Wire is not the same as people who live outside of Baltimore. Like, oh my God, The Wire. It was so real and gritty. Bitch ass nigga. I can't stand fucking day. Now I done put myself in a grumpy mood thinking about Davis. I'm telling you, if I ever want to immediately get grumpy, all I can see is David Simon's fucking scrotum face ass. And all of a sudden I start frowning my face up, mad. All right, well, let me get mad about something else because there's plenty to be mad at about out here, guys. And I want us to go to Atlanta. Oh my God. Tasia, thank you so much. Patricia, thank you so much. You guys are so generous. Thank you all. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for supporting the thing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See, that brought a smile to my face. See, now I'm not mad. I'm not mad anymore. What was I even mad about? Oh, yeah, okay, we back to mad. Okay, y'all, Stop Cop City. The Stop Cop City movement is in full effect. And as you guys know, on the channel, we have been following the Stop Cop City movement now for well over a year. I have a playlist set up on the channel if you guys want to see me talk to Kamau a year and some change ago here on the channel about the Stop Cop City movement. The protesters did all the things correctly. They engaged in public comment. They gave political education to the community. The community became aware of what the Atlanta Public Safety, but whatever the fuck the Cop City Project was. And the community said, you know what, this is not something that we want. But even still, the powers that be, the oligarchical capitalist powers, the police state, bought and paid for Democrats, black elected officials, are pushing this project through. And I'm so still very encouraged to see the amount of resistance and the amount of pushback coming from those defending the Atlanta forest and even from those who are coming from out of town to come stand shoulder to shoulder with those who are trying to stop Cop City. So this week begins a week of actions in Atlanta and around the country. I believe March 9th is the National Stop Cop City Day, so as it were, where likely there is a march or a demonstration that is planned in a city near you. And you guys need to follow community movement builders, the Atlanta Solidarity Fund, the Atlanta Forest Defenders on social media. They will post more specific information about the direct actions that are planned. But one action took place over the weekend where organizers set up a family friendly concert and like just a day to be out, and the police showed up bringing the motherfucking ruckus. And as a result, over 23 people were arrested. Not over 23 people, I believe, were arrested. 20 of them, or maybe that same number, 23, have been charged with domestic terrorism. And this continues to be an escalation on behalf of not only the police, but the prosecutors to send a message to chill the amount of resistance protest that has been happening surrounding this project, which is, of course, very telling. I can't see how people defending, as Kamal told us this morning on the Remix Morning Show on Black Power Media, I can't see how people defending tree huts could be construed as domestic terrorism. Even, let's assume here for a second that some shit got burnt, some construction equipment got burnt. There's already a crime for that. It's called destruction of property, right? You could even get fancy with the shit and call it arson. I do not see how any of that is domestic terrorism. Domestic terrorism, my nigga. Domestic terrorism. Did any of them oath boys or them proud keepers? Did any of them Klan niggas at January 6th? Could they get hit with domestic terrorism charges? Have they or their organizations been hit with RICO charges? Nope. Because white people can tear shit up and don't shit happen. And but don't be a crunchy white. Don't be the far left, extra crunchy. Don't be an anti-racist. Don't be with the shits, because unfortunately, those good white folks, they will give them the nigga treatment. Not as harsh as the nigga treatment, but they'll make them think. They'll anyway. Let me be quiet. So anyway, hold on. What am I trying to show y'all here? So, ooh, okay, this was a good one. So we saw the confrontations, let's say, between police and protesters. I hate to even frame it that way because I sound like one of them dickheads reporting the news on television. And I don't mean to sound that way. I actually very intentionally try not to sound that way, but it comes out every now and again. So we saw those scenes that the Atlanta police themselves were, releasing and using as propaganda and as rhetoric to call the protesters rioters, to say that there was a coordinated ambush on police. That's all propaganda and cop speak. But I want us to take a look at this video because included in the week's worth of actions to stop Cop City, some of the activists did something really cool. So let me read you this tweet from Hungry Bowtie on Twitter, who is Garrison Davis. And Garrison tweeted out this video that we're about to see. It's going to be the first one under Stop Cop City actions this week, Will. And the tweet reads, Stop Cop City activists walk into the Norfolk Southern Atlanta Police walk into the Norfolk Southern headquarters. Norfolk Southern, guys, is one of the Atlanta Police Foundation funders. Okay. So, after protesters walked into the Norfolk Southern headquarters, they did that to read a letter addressed to its CEO, Alan Shaw. And I want us to take a look at this video because, again, they have lots of actions planned this week, but I really appreciated this act of solidarity from the Stop Cop City protesters that they did to let Norfolk Southern know that what happened in East Palestine is also an environmental justice issue. And even the fact that the people in East Palestine, even though it's Trump country, so to speak, I mean, not everyone who lives there obviously is a supporter of Donald Trump, but it is Trump country for sure. People who are trying to stop Cop City still stand with those folks, right? Because they understand that they are in class solidarity with them. They understand that the capitalist powers do not care about their environmental well-being, their public health. So long as those trains keep running, they will run over poor rural white folks as well. They will poison and damage poor rural white folks as quick as they would poor black and brown people. So I appreciate this show of solidarity with them folks. And I hope them folks in East Palestine know that this happened. So I want us to take a look at this clip of Stop Cop City protesters going to the Atlanta headquarters of railroad owners Norfolk Southern and told them people about themselves. Let's take a look.
Entering the Norfolk Southern building.
Please leave the building. That's what it is. Can you please leave the building? Dear Mr. Shaw, please leave the building. We are deeply concerned that Norfolk Southern is playing a harmful role in the city right now. Your continued support for the Atlanta Police Foundation is the highest. Can you please leave the building? Can you please leave the building? Your private property, can you leave the building? Please leave the building. Please leave the building. Also appears to be corrupt. General contractor Rashford Gordon has been hired by the
Please don't record me. That's a foundation.
Let me tell you something. I love to see those scenes. I love to see acts of civil disobedience. I love that. I don't think that the protesters there were arrested, which is, of course, a good thing. We don't need people to be arrested. But I have to say, it's a little bit comical to me sometimes because we know y'all know who works the front desk and security at a lot of office buildings is black folks. And when the security man, I mean, he was just trying to do his job. Can you please leave the building? Can you please leave the building? Because you know that man, that old black man, did not want to get rough or put hands on the young black kids. It's just funny to me to see the black security be like, Jesus God, what do y'all expect me to do here? What do y'all expect me to do? It's just funny. Oh, maybe it's just funny to me, but my bad. We'll put up that tweet if you could, the one that has the image in it, with all the different logos, because let's just be clear here. Let us not be in forgettance. Forgettance is a new word that I just made up. Y'all like that? Oh, who the fuck is funding Cop City? Okay, it's Norfolk Southern, it's the Atlanta Journal Constitution, it's Wells Fargo, it's Amazon, it's Chick-fil-A, it's Delta Airlines. Who else is funded? It's UPS. You're mad because my style you're admiring. Don't be mad. UPS is hiring. You should have been a cop. Fuck hip hop. With that freestyle, you're bound to get shot. What? Not from Houston, but a rap a lot. Pack the guy a lot. The flames about to drop. Home Depot. Inspire Brands. Who else is a funder of Cop City? Georgia State University. Now, you know y'all need y'all asses whipped. The Atlanta Hawks and State Farm Arena also need their asses whipped, figuratively, in case YouTube want to get frisky. Taser, which is now known as Axion Enterprises. Waffle House. Do niggas in Atlanta know that Waffle House is a funder of Cop City? I don't think niggas know that. I think black people need to be made aware of that very specific fact. I think we need to do some political education outside of the Waffle House. Tell niggas you can't eat here. They trying to put the police in your communities. JP Morgan and Chase, also an Atlanta Cop City funder. So guys, and you know, I'm looking at this list myself and I'm trying to think, okay, are there any sort of principled actions I could adjust to my own consumerism here? And I know there is no ethical consumerism under capitalism. I understand that. But I could make some different choices here. I don't have to fuck with Amazon. I shouldn't be fucking with Amazon. Nobody should be eating Chick-fil-A because they're homophobic as shit. I've been not flying Delta Airlines because they put me off 2 flights being racist. So I already don't fuck with Delta. Damn it. And I am a customer of the UPS store. Ain't that a bitch? So anyway, I'm just trying to look here and see if I can make some different choices. And I'm not saying that y'all should do that or even we should do that as a collective, but you know, it is something to think about. But I definitely think that ATLians need to be made aware that Waffle House is a funder of Cop City. I'm trying to tell you, I think niggas would make different choices out here in the streets. But speaking of out here in the streets, so again, shout out to community movement builders, shout out to the Atlanta Forest Defenders, shout out to all the many groups that have been taking active resistance, organizing against the Stop Cop City movement. And Roots Action posted this to their Twitter page. Unfortunately, they didn't post a lot of context, so I wasn't exactly clear when this particular sister made these comments to the Atlanta City Council, but they got made. Okay. I suppose the win is inconsequential here because sis got up and said what needed to be said. She read and dragged and read and dragged, and I was so very excited to hear it and see it. So I want us to take a listen, if we could, for a moment. And I wish I could have found a longer clip. Who that? I wish I could have found a longer clip. Hold on. Someone's trying to say something good here. What you say, Chuck Diesel? Thank you so much, baby boy. I appreciate you being here. You said like, share, and subscribe. Yes, do all that shit. Appreciate you, Chuck Diesel. What's up, Imani? It was today she said it, Imani. Thank you so much for that. Kiana Jones. Reverend Kiana Jones. Guys, I'm not a religious woman. I want to go to Kiana Jones's church because Kiana, Reverend Kiana can preach. Okay, Reverend Kiana can preach. Reverend Kiana Woo! Drag that scripture out. I'm sorry, I'm getting excited because when I first saw the video, Imani, you must have seen the shit too because when I seen it, I hollered. That's it. And I don't use preachers don't usually get me excited like that. I don't holler about what preachers talk about, but shit, Reverend Keanu Jones got up there and dropped a fucking word on on their heads. I got to mute my mic when this is playing because I'm gonna be hollering in the background. So we'll get that queued up because this was I hate to even say this because corny motherfuckers have usurped the done language, but it was a mic drop moment. But I gotta find a better way to say that because all of our cool rap terminology has been usurped by the mainstream, and now the shit is corny, and I don't like it. So anyway, check this shit out, y'all. This is legit. Check it out.
This Atlanta City Council. My name is Reverend Kiana Jones, and I stand here before you as a member of the Faith Coalition to Stop Cop City. And I'm looking at each one of your faces, and I really want to understand how it is that you asked people to vote for you and then ignored their voices. How it is that you feel okay with yourself lauding Abel Mabel, who had a lot to say about treating people right, who had a lot to say about the words of the Bible that many of you like to quote. Well, let me remind you of something. Be not deceived, for God is not mocked. That whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So understand this, that the sins of the father will be visited on the children. It has happened time and again. So it may not happen to you, but what about your child? What about their children? What about their children's children's children? What will your legacy be? You so-called legacies of black misleadership sitting up here on this council. Let me tell you something. Representation is not enough when you don't represent the people who elected you. The people came out and spoke clearly. And let me go to the Bible one more again and say that we are here as clergy to cry loud and spare not. We are opening our mouths and crying with a loud voice to say that we don't want Cop City. I live in East Atlanta. I don't want Cop City. I got 5 black children. I don't want Cop City. I like breathing clean air. I don't want Cop City. I want to drink clean water. I don't want Cop City. I don't want Black Hawk helicopters landing around the corner from my house. I don't want Cop City. I don't. My neighbors don't. My granny don't. She's been in her house almost 50 years, and you suckers will never get it through gentrification because we knew what to do. And Mary Norwood and the people of Buckhead, this will not be your trade-off. When are you going to stop dealing with the white supremacist infrastructure and dealing with the so-called...
Woo, woo, woo. Okay. Stop the fight. Throw in the towel. Reverend Kiana Jones, guys, I need to do my Googles because I need to know where sis be preaching at because we are going to send her some money. I'm going to send her some money from this channel. Are y'all okay with that? We don't normally send money out to religious organizations. Wherever Kiana Jones is pastoring, please be okay with the channel sending her congregation and her flock a little bit of support because, my God, was that not a word? Was that not actual, factual preaching and reading for filth? She read the black bourgeoisie and black misleadership political class, dragged gentrification, dragged them for enabling gentrification, and told them about themselves like, oh, y'all niggas so worried about legacy, okay? Well, let's hope that this legacy decision that you all have made regarding Cop City does not come to bite you back in the ass when Atlanta police is trying to stop and frisk or do worse to your children, to your grandchildren, or to somebody that you know. Don't be the ones responsible. Don't be the architects for releasing a more emboldened and empowered police force upon the black residents in the streets of Atlanta. I mean, everything she said. Imani, I saw you said you're going to tag me on something that she said. Lord, you said she dragged the press for filth. I need to find that. We're going to run that tomorrow on the morning show, everybody. Tune into the Remix Morning Show, Black Power Media, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday mornings, 8 a.m. Eastern. We're going to play that tomorrow, Imani. Thank you so much for even making me aware of that. Shirley! Shirley, is this $10 going to Reverend Kiana? Because if it is, that's fine. Thank you. Shirley, how did I know? How did I know? Shirley said, yep, here's more to send to the good pastor. Lord, have mercy. That's what I'm talking about. What's her denomination? Is she AME? What is that? Is that Kojic? Church of God in Christ? I mean, what? Who is preaching like that? Who is preaching like that? I would go to church if my pastor was preaching some shit like that. I would go to church. I'm telling you. Anyway, I'm about to start tuning into her church on TV on the computer. I sound like my mother. I'm about to start watching her on YouTube, on Facebook, because that was some preaching. I mean, inspiring. Anna Hart, thank you so much, baby girl. I'm about to make that announcement. I appreciate Anna. You guys are so kind and generous. You guys have made such important donations for us here at the channel. I appreciate that. Do I have anything else pertaining to Cop City? So here's where we are, gang. What can you say about this? Like, as much horrific shit as Ron DeSantis is doing in Florida, what's happening in Atlanta surrounding this Cop City project is as horrifying, if not more horrifying, right? Because they are, again, as the case in Pittsburgh, as the case, I'm sure, in a lot of places, New York City, Los Angeles, all over the country, the will of the people is being usurped here. People are saying, they're not saying enough that they want the police defunded. Unfortunately, that policy demand was perverted by the Democrats and the Republicans, of course, but the Democrats did a good job of making that political kryptonite, like some shit that no politician could come out and actively run on because of the accusation that they would be soft on crime or they don't support police. So they're not able to come out and say defund the police. I don't even know to what extent, how many politicians even still support that policy ask, but getting the police to not engage as much with the public, especially in the form of these pretextual minor traffic stops, relative to the situation, I suppose, is a step in the right direction. It's something better than a nothing, right? And I hate that sometimes all of the improvements that we have proposed to society, it always comes out, is it something or is it nothing? It's never the best option. It's the fact that something is being done, a minimal something, as opposed to a maximum nothing. But you can change the laws all you want. If the cops still feel as though their job is to harass and stop and criminalize and arrest and incarcerate Black people, there's no amount of city ordinances that is going to deter them from doing that. You can even change the law and tell the cops, hey, you don't have to do these minor traffic offenses anymore. The cops still want to do them. And it's funny to me that the rhetoric coming from both the Montgomery County Police Chief and I guess, I don't know if Mr. Strajetsky is officially the chief of police for the city of Pittsburgh, but the verbiage is the same. The rhetoric is the same. If you tell police that they cannot do these minor traffic stops, it affects their morale. They think that they're not able to do their job. I thought their job was to enforce public safety. I thought the police were there to get murderers off the street, to get child molesters, to get rapists off the street. What's them clearance rates of murder and sexual assault looking like in Montgomery County, Maryland, and in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania? But I bet you them traffic stops is up. Them traffic stops is at very high levels. But the clearance rate for actual crimes against people, I'm sure it's not that great. But again, that's not the police's job to catch murderers and to catch rapists and child abusers and domestic abusers. No, their job is to fuck with Black people. And they show that all the time. And their resistance and the amount of pushback that police give when there are even suggestions that they can modify the ways in which they do their job just tells you everything that you need to know. You can't reform an institution that, number one, is never meant to be reformed, and number two, that does not want to be reformed. And when you try to reform them, they respond like they have been doing in Atlanta, harshly, viciously, cracking down a lot on civil disobedience and political dissent, overcharging people with massive amounts of felonies, giving unreasonable bails or denying bail outright. We can't say that the fascism is coming. The fascism is here. It is here. So it's so imperative that we support the movements and the actions this week, particularly of the Stop Cop City folks. March 9th, this Thursday, again, is where you're going to find the nationwide rallies and protests. You should go to communitymovementbuilders.org or check out the Atlanta Solidarity Fund or Defend ATL Forest. Check them out on Twitter. They can give you more specific information about where the actions are being planned locally where you are. But we need to pay attention to this. We need to send support. The channel is also going to send support to the Atlanta Solidarity Fund. I'll post on the community section when I do that. I'm going to start showing my receipts, so to speak, because again, we do send out support, y'all. But again, we don't send out support for clout or for fucking brownie points. I'm not here for nobody's approval. I'm glad that you guys support the channel, but I don't do shit to get attention, positive or negative. So anyway, but I said that to say I'm going to start posting the receipts just so y'all can see that we are supporting the shit. You know what I'm saying? So we will be supporting the Atlanta Solidarity Fund. So I encourage you all to try to do that as much as possible. We have to help our comrades who have literally laid their bodies and their lives to a certain extent. I'm sure these charges are not going to be easy to get rid of. So they need as much support as they can get down there in Atlanta. So heads up about everything that's going on with Stop Cop City movement there. And guys, I'm gonna make that the show. I have a couple announcements before I let you guys go. Anna Hart, thank you so much for your super chat donation, and thank you and Mama Lorraine for your very generous PayPal support. Monday, this coming Monday. What day is that, dearest? Let me look at the fucking calendar. You know I don't know the days. Is it March or is it April? Is it still February? Who in the hell knows? I don't know. Am I supposed to know what day it is? What month it is? I don't know these things. Monday, March 13th. Please hit up Anna Hart if you would like to join us for the March Around the Fire Disability Support Sesh. We do this every second Monday every single month. We've been doing this since May of last year. So we are soon approaching a year of disability support sessions. You guys may or may not know this, but I am a disabled person. So the issues surrounding accessibility and disability rights is very important to me as well. And 1 in 5 people, or is it 1 in 4, have some sort of disability? So there's a lot of disabled people out here. And if you need some support, if you need a sounding board, or if you just want to be in community and fellowship with other disabled folks, you could join us this Monday. It's going to be 5 p.m. Eastern, Monday, March 13th. Anna is going to put the link out on Discord. Good for you, Anna. Girl, let me find the Discord. And Anna goes on to say that the Around the Fire is a peer-led multi-disability support group that centers on Black and Indigenous people. Yay! I love that. That's wonderful. If you are a YouTube member, you can find that link probably this weekend in the membership section of the channel. And if you're a patron, we will be posting the link information on Patreon as well. You can become a patron at patreon.com/BIDWKB. Thank you so much, Anna Hart, for really spearheading this, Anna, and making sure that it happens each and every single month. Thank you to you and Mama Lorraine for all that you do, What was the other thing? Oh yeah, the abortion fund. God damn, I'm asking y'all to send money. I'll send money a bunch of places. Well, even if you don't send it right now, it's cool. I mean, we do this all month as well. Put up the abortion fund if you could for me, Will. Because bitches don't have rights and shit. Bitches ain't entitled to liberty. You bitches better have these babies, or else, or else, Greg Abbott's gonna roll up your driveway and I don't know what the fuck he's gonna do. Something terrible. But anyway. Not Greg Abbott this time. Tate Reeves in Mississippi is the governor, and he's a piece of shit also. So consequently, we are supporting the Mississippi Reproductive Freedom Fund because people who can get pregnant in Mississippi currently do not have the ability to access abortion care. I'm seeing a lot more stories. I'm glad to see these white women coming forward because, again, they only care about white women. They do not care about Black mothers and expectant Black people. But I seen these white women get on TV, with these very terribly sad stories about pregnancies that are not going to be born to term because of birth defects, etc. And they live in these states where they can't access the abortions or the doctors are afraid to do them. And I'm like, God damn. If the white women down bad like that, I can only imagine what it's like for the Black and the brown women. Jesus. So anyway, help us to support the Missouri Reproductive Freedom Fund this month. We, as a channel, support the abortion funds every month. $50. So we only ask that our Fire Fam, if you're able to match us $5 to the abortion fund, please and thank you. We so appreciate. Hey, Damien, what's up, Stoner Loner? Hey, Aggressive Progressive. Glad to see y'all in here. Hold on, I got a call. Fuck. Did I have something else to tell y'all? Oh! And the last thing, last but not least. So I know I'm not popular or famous or, or anything, but I have had for someone who is not popular and not famous, I've had a bunch of fucking random ass shit happen to me. And this weekend's CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Klan rally gathering that they have every year in the DC area, happened this year. It didn't get as much headlines as it did in years past. And I can tell you guys, in the year 2013, at a CPAC that was held at National Harbor in Maryland, I did make a couple headlines. I showed up to a panel led by some coons. I don't know, I can't remember these coons' names, but these coons did some serious cooning. They led a panel called Are You a Racist? How to Trump the Race Card When You Know You're Not a Racist. And I went to this particular panel and words were exchanged. Words were exchanged. Maybe a bunch of angry whites stood up and tried to yell at me. Maybe that happened. Now, if you want to get the real deal as to whether or not that did happen, go to the playlist section of the channel. I created a playlist because I actually did make some news, guys. And when that whole CPAC kerfuffle happened, and again, I'm not going to get too much detail in it because I have posted 4 videos to the playlist. Kindly do not comment under the videos because some of them people had unlisted them videos for reasons I don't know. But I don't want to alert them that I have included these unlisted videos in my playlist. So you can leave comments elsewhere, somewhere. I don't fucking know. But anyway, regardless. Yeah, I know. Who said what the F? Yeah, it happened. I know. I should be way more popular than I am, considering all the times the racists have come for me. It's pretty strange. But regardless, so this happened at CPAC, and it was wild for me as a journalist, a working journalist at the time, to see the real-time erasure of Black women from a story narrative. And the final video on this 4-video playlist was an interview that I did with MSNBC's Joyanne Reed. And a lot of times, when we're getting on the Black bourgeoisie and the Black media and, Black liberals or whatever, I don't usually come too hard at Joyanne. Not because I agree with any of the shit that Joyanne be talking about. 95% of the stuff that she covers, I usually disagree with. However, to her credit, Joyanne Reed and Tommy Christopher from Mediaite were the only 2 journalists who reached out to me to get my perspective of the incident, right? And I will forever be appreciative of that. I will remember that, which is why, again, I don't bomb on Joy Reid when I be nice and I just be shutting the fuck up because she took the time to seek me out and talk to me when she didn't have to. And this was before Joyanne actually got a show on MSNBC. So she was like a regular on Chris Matthews, on Hardball with Chris Matthews. That motherfucker booked me on his show and unbooked because they knew I was going to come up there and talk some shit. But regardless, she actually got up on Chris Matthews and was like, there was a Black woman that was the catalyst of all of this, and no one is mentioning her. so anyway, it was a lesson for me in a lot of different things. So anyway, that has been posted to the playlist section of the channel. Look at that at your leisure. I'd be curious about y'all's thoughts and shit about my little CPAC adventure or misadventure, as it were. Yeah. But anyway, guys, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. Again, to everyone that supported the channel for our winter fundraiser, for helping us not only meet our fundraising goals, but to exceed them. You guys are the greatest. You guys are the best. I love y'all to pieces. Y'all fucking rock. Black Power Media. Excuse me. My bad. I'm sorry. Black Power Media, we are off timeout on YouTube, so you can come check us out. back for the Remix Morning Show, 8 a.m. tomorrow. But do us a favor, if you're on Twitter, Twitch, or Facebook, follow Black Power Media other places as well, because Kamau was already predicting that we're going to get our second strike. Kamau has already predicted that a second strike is forthcoming for the channel. And then we will be on timeout for 2 whole weeks. So anyway, BPM, just follow BPM different places, because you never know when YouTube is going to pull the plug on our on our little experiment there. So thank you all so much for coming through. Peace, Afra. Peace, Franny France. Peace, Donnie. Thank you, Latif, baby boy. Chuck Diesel. I always love to see you in here. Shout out to my girl Tasia. Tasia, thank you, baby. Shout out to Jess Tess as well for your support as well. Jess Tess, thank you. Thank you guys so much. So we'll see you back here on Friday for the Friday edition of Burn It Down with Kid Round. Please don't forget that COVID is still out here jumping on people. Don't let these super spreaders pressure y'all into not wearing masks indoors in public spaces. Still mask up if you don't feel comfortable, and if you want to protect immunocompromised and disabled people in your spaces, it's okay to mask up, y'all. Fuck these people. COVID is still out here jumping on people. I don't want it to jump on you. Continue to social distance and wash your hands. On behalf of Will and Molly, thank you guys so much. We love you all to pieces. See y'all later. Bye bye, y'all. Bye bye. You shall